Aloha, it's 365 Hawaii.
With Eric and Julie Zemelis, and behind us is our backyard, and we're sitting next to the fire pit because we're talking story today with you guys.
Yes, we are. And today is a milestone. Well, not today, but just generally this whole month has been a milestone because we have hit 7 years on YouTube, and we have hit 15,000 subscribers, 3.4 million views, and over 300 videos, all coming up right around now. So it's kind of an exciting time to be. So we thought we would do a video about all of the greatness that has happened.
Yeah, and we also wanted to make sure that we've got a chance to thank you for making it so that we could be on YouTube for 7 years. And we're going to be also talking to you a little bit about how when we didn't know how many lives we'd changed, including our own, when we first picked up the camera 7 years ago. And we will also cover some adventures that we've been on, some of the funny moments, maybe some bloopers. It's all going to be here in this video, and hope you'll join us.
Okay, so the question is, why would you start a YouTube channel with no experience?
Well, most people don't have experience, but what you guys might not know is we do have experience, and it started back in 2009.
We were one of the first people to get a digital video camera, which is back in the day.
Camcorder.
And so you couldn't really edit back in those days, so you literally kind of had to shoot the video as it was going to come out. So you did each section and just kind of moved on, and then just kind of did the tapes. And our little shtick was that we would have a lot of friends getting married at that time because we were right around that age. And we'd kind of go to these weddings, and we would kind of do a little commemorative video to the
wedding people. Our friends.
Yeah.
Now, we were not paid videographers. That was not what our shtick was. It was going to just make sure that our friends had an actual someone capturing the memories. And we started doing interviews of their friends and started asking people, what did you think of Bob and Sally? And we ended up creating such a great memory for my friends from the funny things that we were doing. And Eric and I, at the end of the day, we're not shy by asking people questions on camera. We do it all the time on this channel. But it was fun because they were so surprised when they got the video back and they saw that not only did we capture like just the regular moments, but we did funny things. And they really thought that was fun. So that was kind of the beginning of what we did.
2009. And then what on, Julie? Then when you went on to do a...
Then we moved to Hawaii, and I created my 365 Things to Do in Kona channel in 2010. And I was doing videos, you guys, before Instagram was even created. That's how old I am. I started doing the 365 Kona moment, and that was simply taking my camera and just doing like your 365 Kona moment comes from, and I just started capturing like a 30-second little capture of what was going on in Kona with the sunsets and with big waves and all the fun things. And it ended up being that Eric said, you know what, why don't you think about getting in front of the camera? And that was years later, you guys. People used to recognize me from my voice and my laugh, and they hadn't seen me on camera. And then we said, okay, let's figure this out. So what happened then?
So that was approximately 2018 is when it was. And so our first video was a video on the 5 best beaches. And look at this. We used I had bought a very cool, it was a gimbal. This is the new version of it, but the old days, it was totally spectacular to have this little tiny gimbal. And we were doing it. And so our first one, I'm like, I'm going to use this. And it was able to do time lapses, and it was able to do all kinds of really cool stuff. So that was used on our first video.
Yep. In fact, if anyone goes back in the back, I was trying to do my 365 Kona moment while I was walking. And I remember specifically up at Pu'u, and one of the guys is like, why don't you get stabilization on your camera? And I'm like, how am I supposed to stabilize my phone?
Because back then phones weren't very well stabilized.
Right. And so Eric's like, we got to get better at doing these things. So he bought that gimbal.
It was, and by the way, it was a lot of money for us at that time. It was $200, right? And now they're a lot cheaper, but man, it was like to have one of those. It was shocking to come out,
especially since we had no viewers and we didn't know what the hell we were doing. So we created. I don't think we called it 365 Hawaii yet, though, did we?
Nope. It was best Kona. It was a 365 Kona.
Yeah, 365 Kona. And so we did the first 2 or 3 videos, and then interestingly enough, one of my friends, who actually was one of my social media buddies in the real estate industry back in 2000 and like said, hey, why don't you guys change it from Kona to Hawaii? That way you guys can cover the whole island chain and do all the things on all the islands. And so we said, that sounds great. And hence 365 Hawaii was born. And that was probably...
about a year after that.
After that, 2019 maybe. And then I was able to put these videos on my 365 Things to Do in Kona channel and also on my 365kona.com blog, because a lot of people, again, my old friends, they actually found me more through my writing than through my video skills. And so we had an audience that we could already put into motion with our videos. Because Eric sometimes says, boy, we do these videos and then hundreds of people see them. Well, I had primed the pump before we started getting into videos. And so therefore, when we started telling people what we were doing, we actually got some more eyeballs. And so it made our channel grow a little faster.
What we decided for kind of our channel, back then there was a lot of travel vloggers and everybody was doing travel videos. So they decided, we thought, well, let's mimic our channel after a travel vlogger that only stays in Hawaii. Was kind of what our thought was. But we ran into some trouble with that.
Yeah. So you guys might know that by doing the 5 best beaches in West Hawaii and like great places to hike, we never used the title Hidden Gems, though.
That was before that time. People didn't use Hidden Gems.
No, there was no clickbait back then.
That's a hook. Today's
we're
hooks
not
are
hooking. So what we were doing, we were basically looking at tourists who wanted to know more about the island. So during that time frame became the rise of people following the suggestions of travel vloggers. And then Instagram started showing off places that might have remained a secret better.
This place literally started to blow up is what happened. I mean, all the Instagrammers came here and they hit all the great spaces. And then all of a sudden we're looking like schmucks because we just covered a little bit of it. We didn't go there at all. And so that was an interesting time for us. And we actually, during this time, we had to decide what we were going to do with the channel.
Right, because people were saying, stop showing people the secret beaches and stop showing people secret. In fact, I'll tell you guys a funny story. Eric and I were filming out in near Hawaii, and we went down to a cliff, and there was some surfers, and we shot the surfers. And we came back, we published it, and these guys were like, "Take that down. That's a special surfing spot." And we're like, "Ooh." Because we didn't really know. We're like, oh, okay. And then another time when we were shooting, let's say Waipio Valley, people were like, oh, that's a sacred valley. Please don't show that. It's just, it's being disrespected. So then we started listening to the people in the comments, especially what the Hawaiian culture was telling us. It's like, you know what? Say the words right. Show some respect. You don't need to show everybody everything. And so we started listening to that. And interestingly, Councilwoman Rebecca Villegas actually saw me at an event I had put on, and she said, you know what, you should promote the businesses more than the beaches. And that really made me kind of say, you know what, we could do a lot more with our channel than just be travel vloggers. We could actually tell the stories of the people who actually live here.
And with that, we had so we started our business updates, was what we started doing. And that was, by the way, was right around the same time that COVID was hitting. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing that there was nobody out, and it was very quiet and all this kind of stuff like that. So it was a great time to show you, because nobody could get here during that time, so they all wanted to see what happened in Hawaii during the pandemic.
Yeah. And they missed Hawaii. I think that a lot of people who watch those videos just wanted to kind of like get a beautiful space that they couldn't get to, and they wanted to see what was going on. And so we started filming downtown, because a lot of people said, what's going on downtown? As the businesses started to come back, then we talked to the business owners, and we were rollerblading down there, and people thought that was very interesting. And then we started doing quarterly updates.
Well, yeah, quarterly updates, definitely. We've been doing them ever since that time, and it's been great because we've been putting a lot of, giving the business a lot of spotlight to make them show them all the great things that are coming on.
So new businesses, things that are happening here in town, and then that's an interesting story that from talking about updates and things that are going around downtown, that's when we started saying, you know what, we need to spotlight some issues on this island that could be getting some help, and that's when that parking experience actually started.
YouTube is done. Is it's given us, it's like a spotlight. We get to go around and we get to choose what we're going to focus our attention on, and whatever we focus our attention on usually it changes or gets better, something like that. So we become a little bit, I get to kind of an activist, you would describe it as, especially Julie, because she loves taking on a cause, and she can be kind of strong on different things.
So, okay, but get this. I will say that after interviewing dozens of small business owners, right, especially downtown, that yes, I do take on that, because the stories of these entrepreneurs and what it's taken for them, and all the energy and just all the work it takes to create a business in this town. When something is going after our small businesses, like let's say crazy parking, I do have a feeling like, I want to do what I can to save them. And so this channel helped us actually show you guys what was going on with the parking signage, the parking fees, what was happening with the downtown, starting to have issues.
It was live when it was happening, because every time something came up, we were able to film it.
We did at least 3
And we were there the first time when things actually started, the signs started going up, we were there.
Yeah. So one of the things now from this is that hopefully, hopefully when you guys see this, hopefully we'll have an ordinance. Maybe we've helped solve the problem, and then we'll go on to another one. And it's also held us into making sure that we have a voice a little bit about changing and making things better in Hawaii. So I think in that sense, this is a very valuable experience, being able to be on camera. And then also, you guys, seriously, your input and your comments helped make this happen too. We had hundreds of people weighing in on what was going on, and that helped us make sure that we got a chance to take that as a voice and take it to our county leaders.
So we have done all kinds of videos, as you know, and the travel ones are the most craziest ones, and particularly like the adventure travel is the ones that always get it. And the one that is definitely memory in my mind is that we went to Kauai and we wanted to do the swamp trail for the video, and it was big before we even got there. We heard it was a big hike, and trying to film it and figure it out, and it was so crazy. So do you want to lead in with that one?
Yeah. So the Alaka swamp trail, it starts in the mountains like behind Kauai, and then it's so long you basically go over the top of the mountain through the swamp trail, and then you come out and your view is Princeville and Hanalei Bay
from the backside. That's the thing, at the top of the mountain. So
and in front of us was 9 waterfalls. It's epic. So I'd seen this on the internet and said, we should do this, and we got ourselves into a bit of a muddy mess.
Well, first of all, just to get there, the trail was not clearly marked at all. And so we ended up
getting lost twice before we started.
Twice or 3 times, because before we even got there, we got lost. And that was kind of crazy. And it was, and the weather was already starting to get a little cloudy already on top of that. It didn't rain during this time.
No.
But we got there, and what we realized is that the farther we go is that Kauai is super muddy. I mean, we're talking like slippery, steep mud.
And here I was trying to I don't want to get dirty. I don't want my feet to get dirty. And then finally I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have a choice. And I had to step through the mud. And then Eric was sliding, and we, oh gosh, you guys.
Trying not to get the camera muddy on top of that.
Yeah.
So, and then, so it was this incredible just slopping away through it. We finally just gave up and just kept going to it.
Yeah.
And when you get to the top of this trail, it's a caldera mud, right? But probably about a foot deep. And they have a walkway that goes across for almost a mile. It's amazing how far it is.
A broken walkway.
It hasn't been
that nobody talked
in a long time, in a very long time.
So we were leaping, we were going around, and it was long, and I started going oh, and he's like, oh, nobody on the internet wants to see you go, meh. I'm like, oh no, they should hear the human drama behind this. And there was more whining on that than you actually saw in that video.
So by the time, we got to the end, which was we didn't know if we were going to do that. It was lunchtime at 2:00, and we were still only two-thirds of the way there. So it was like, oh gosh, we had to get back to. But we pushed through. We got there. It was great, and
spectacular view.
And I was able to throw the drone up. It was great. We got 10 minutes before the clouds came in and closed off the entire thing. You couldn't see anything. So if it had been 10 minutes later, that would have been the end of it. But we got it, which was great. And then we just had to get back, and we got back, and we were so
we
tired.
We just had to get back. It was a 4-hour walk back.
Yeah, and
thousands ran out of water.
Feet on top of it. And then we get back to the car, and we've run out of water, and there's no drinking fountains there. There's no nothing. We literally had to drive another 15-20 minutes down into town to go buy some water. So it was one of those, and we had a lot of water. Don't get me wrong. We know that you need to pack water when you're in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So that was definitely, I would say, our craziest hike.
Yeah.
Ever.
So if you see that video, know that there was suffering along the way. So let's talk about the perks of being YouTubers.
Yeah, so back in the old days, they used to actually sponsor YouTubers to go around and do all this stuff. They don't do this much anymore. You're on your own. And at that time, they figured if a YouTuber talked about it, you were going to get 10 million people coming to your resort, which you get some depending on the YouTuber, but not a lot.
Yeah.
So since we were just kind of young, up-and-coming bucks, we didn't get the super great ones, but we got some good ones. And what was the one you were thinking of, Julie?
Okay, so this is a funny story, guys. So we were doing a video out in that lava tube near the airport that's been shut off since the pandemic. And we were sitting there, and I said something like, look, you can see a Mokulele flight from here. Well, someone from Mokulele actually saw that video, and she reached out to me and said, hey, what do you guys think about partnering with Mokulele and do some flights around the islands to show people how easy it is to fly a 9-seat charter plane?
Their little Cessna plane.
And we said, sure. So they actually paid for us to go to
Hana.
And Molokai.
And Molokai. And
we never made it
and
to
Maui too. Just Maui. Just straight Maui.
So Maui and Molokai.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also got a hotel in Maui near Hana. It's called Travasa, which is now turned into like the Hyatt or something. But we got a chance to fly on the cliffs of both Molokai and in Maui, and it just was a beautiful experience. And we also got a chance to go to that hotel and film that whole experience too. That was our first true. We are guests of this hotel as YouTubers.
Yeah, and
right?
it's been fun. You know what I mean? A little bit of perks of being able, with a camera in your hand, to be able to do that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And the hotel was spectacular. We got a chance, and since we're already in Hana, we already beat everybody there that had to drive.
Yeah, so we went to like the 7 sacred pools of Hana, and we got a chance to go into like the bamboo forest, and then we went to the back end of I'll tell you guys, we went to the back end of a trail, but there was a huge waterfall, and it said, "Do not cross beyond this line." And I'm like, "Come on, Eric, let's go." He's like, "No. If we can't film it, we're not going." This is Eric's whole thing now. If we can't film it, we ain't going. So he's like, "Oh, we have to be good stewards of the land and follow the directions that is put out there because we don't want to be a bad example to the public." So you guys, seriously, he is Mr. Ethics. Will not go to places that are kapu. So I'll give you that.
Yep.
But the other thing is that we got a chance to do, though, is talk a little bit more about some of the cultural aspects of the places that we got a chance to see.
Yep.
Right? So that was, it's nice to be able to bring that to our viewers, because a lot of people don't get a chance to go to some of the places that we get a chance to go to. When we create videos, it's not always the best opinions of other people to say, "You know what, stop telling people to move here." So on the stop telling people to move here, that was specifically what's happening in 2021, I think.
Well, and everybody was moving here. It wasn't our fault. There was just a crazy amount of people there.
So we noticed that was happening. There's a lot of backlash from people who actually lived here. So we decided to do a video called "The Cons of Living on the Big Island of Hawaii." And we talk about the actual true nature of the bad things it is about this island. But also, we took that stance of, maybe now is not the time to come. Right?
Yeah. And so it turns out, it's funny part, it's Cons of the Big Island, and it turns out to be one of our most viewed videos of all time.
Like 90,000 views or something.
And you'd think, why would somebody like the cons? But it really kind of resonated, and we were real. And I think that's kind of what about our channel is that people have kind of, our deal is that we don't sugarcoat things. We are, if you're going to be here, you better see there's good and there's bad.
And I'll tell you the truth.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, people are like this. Other people are trying to get people to do things. You guys, you don't care. We've never used this channel to sell anything.
Yeah.
Except for maybe a little bit when we turned into realtors because of this channel. We got our licenses because so many people started saying, "Hey, can you help us?" But we decided we weren't going to be those kinds of people that says, "Come to the island, just move here." We have made it a point to say, if you come to this island to move here and you want to work with us, you have to give back to the island, and you have to understand what you're getting yourself into, and you have to understand the island. So I like to believe, are educating a better person who gets to be here. And a lot of these people who come off this channel have turned into some of my great volunteers. We're the ones who put on the parades. We're the ones who, are fixing the parks and painting and doing all kinds of fun
community
things.
Projects, for
right,
sure.
Right, so community service and community
And we
building.
would have never been able to do that without having a following. And there's definitely a power of having the following. And again, it's being able to focus it in the right direction.
We want you to get out because
you can help too!
That means you!
One of the things that this island is missing is kind of a news crew. So when the volcano goes off, or we get a huge, whether it be weather system come in, or tsunami, not tsunami, but we've been here for tsunamis, but we weren't recording that. But there was nobody around, so guess who that leaves?
Us. So if you guys gotten a chance to see some of the things that we've chased after big storms.
Yep.
Big surf.
Yep.
The sand being taken off of the beaches.
Yep.
We actually got a chance to film the eruption at Mauna Loa.
Mm-hmm.
And also
by the way,
times at Kilauea.
Just a side note on the eruption of Mauna Loa. We were up there. It was 12 days. We were up there at least 3 or 4 of those days.
Yeah.
And it was one of the more spectacular things I've seen on the scale of how big that was.
Yeah, in fact, I was called by a news channel in the San Francisco Bay Area to actually report on the Mauna Loa eruption because we were up there and they knew us from YouTube, and it was that was like one of those I'm in the news kind of moment. But also there's things that we also have been able to cover. So obviously we covered what was happening during the pandemic.
Yep.
And there's all kinds of things that happened on this island. You guys, seriously, I don't think we got a chance to cover the dengue fever, but
I think we talked about it.
Yeah, maybe. But definitely when there's something going on, like flooding, we got flooding.
Yeah, and we've like a couple times the snow has been incredibly big.
Going up the snow.
Yep, we've got a couple of that just to get going on that.
But also one of the things that we've also been able to cover is storm damage, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we also started working with Kailua Beach Park. We started working with them on making sure that people were not stepping on the coral and making sure they were wearing mineral sunscreen. But that's when we got down there to film some of the damage that happened from a high tide, and that's how we met Cindy. And then we started working with Kailua Beach Park also. So again, all these little moments of like we're doing something, we meet somebody, and it turns into doing something else. And again, that's the magic of being on this channel. Okay, as you guys can imagine, of course, everything is not always fun and rosy. I will say that one thing that you might not see is the fact that Eric loves to film out in the middle of the day when it's hot down at the pier. We've started our videos at the pier at least 6 times, and each time I go like this: "Please not the pier. It's so hot down there." He's like, "Oh, just come on, make it happen. Suck it up by the cup."
Okay,
and
wait,
so,
before you go on, let me have a little rebuttal to that.
Taskmaster.
Okay. The beauty of that, number one, is that the drone footage is always the best when the sun is shining down in the water. The water is bluer than blue. If you shoot early or late, it's not the same. It's got to be, the sun has got to be above. It's not good for normal shooting. That's why we look a little washed out. But for the drone footage and being down there, it's excellent. So that's kind of what this is about.
Yeah, and he's always like, you know what, this is where the hub is. And so I'm usually all about the hub for about 2 or 3 shots, and then he starts moving us, and we're you guys, seriously, sometimes we're shooting out there for like 2.5 hours. And so if you see me looking a little like after 2.5 hours, it's usually because it's hot and I'm getting tired. So this is a job, you guys. And so it's not all fun and games. And for Eric's part, when he is like determined to get the shot, he just wants to keep going. And I'm like, oh, I have a life, I have to live. And he's like, this is first.
You got to get it done. And so example, like the talking about, we were shooting that beach, the five best beaches when we started. In the old days, the volcano was going off much more often than it is now, and so we had a lot more vog on a regular basis. And there was a lot of times that it was very foggy here in Kona. So we'd only have a couple. I'd say one day out of every 2 weeks was like we call it an HD day, which was this perfectly clear day, and that was one of those days. So that was the day to film. So there's no stopping. You can't just go, oh, I'll film it tomorrow. No, it's going to be a shitty day tomorrow. It has to be done today. And that's kind of how we go. And the clouds come in at 2 o'clock, so we got to get done. You know, once the clouds come in, it ruins it on there. So there's definitely, and each video takes us, like example, let's talk about an update at the for the business update. Takes probably 4 or 5 hours to film. It doesn't seem like it should take. Only segments are that long, but by the time you move, you get set up, you got to put everything together.
And also sometimes over the course of many days, to capture everybody and do all the work too. Right?
Yeah, and our videos have been changing a little bit. They've been getting a little longer. We've been adding a little more because YouTube likes it when we have long, big, fat, juicy videos with all kinds of good stuff in there.
Yeah, yeah. And then also the concept of if you see that video, we just actually resaw that that I had to change my bathing suit like 5 times and jump in the ocean and look my hair like this. That's another thing too. Again, for the ladies, that this doesn't just happen. This does. He says, oh, we're going to go shoot today. All he does is comb his hair. I'm like, oh, no, I got to do the thing. And so I don't always get to do the thing. But for the most part, you're getting older. But again, this is like something we have to plan for. We have to set it up. We go out. But those days, though, that when we literally jump in the car because an eruption started are some of the more exciting days because then I'm just wearing a baseball cap, just going. But the whole concept of just being being a non-air personality.
Right. So this kind of leads to our next video that we're going to do, is that now that you've heard about all of what we've done, we're going to do a day in the life of a YouTuber to kind of give you an idea of what actually it is. Because this has been a huge learning experience for me too. This isn't just being able to take a camera and turn it. It started out with just turning on the phone, but now it's I've got we're shooting out of a $5,000 camera, and it requires a special setup to make sure everything works right. And we got drones. I've got 3 different types of drone that flies in 3 different types of ways, and we've got all these different things that all have to be mastered. And so there's quite a bit of technical jargon, and we didn't even get into the editing part of life for what it is. So
because you don't care unless you care.
Yeah, so we'll get into
that. That's why the next video is going to be about for all those people who ask Eric, oh, what is that you're shooting on?
Yeah.
Oh, how do I get the lighting going?
So anyways, yeah, so that's coming up. So Julie and I have been having this discussion for a long time on whether our YouTube videos should have silly elements in them or not. And the answer is yes, with silly elements are good within reason.
Oh my God, he's cut off so many of my silly things.
Oh my God. So I try to have a little bit of, I don't know, I'm a little bit more conservative than my wife is, and a little bit more trying to kind of push it in a...
You will never see Eric get on the seawall and do a little dance or spin around or, you know, decide to like throw themselves in the waves.
Yeah, but Julie does. And so lately I've been adding more of those to the videos just to give a little bit more things. And here you guys can see some along the way here that we're doing.
Yeah, drop it in the comments if you guys think it's funny and you guys want to see more of like, you know, some like lighthearted antics around Kona. So when we first started, I had already been spending, I don't know, years doing the 365 things to do moments, right? But again, I wasn't on camera. So then Eric puts me in front of the camera and then I become like a little, you know, like spokesperson because my background is actually in public relations and marketing. And I actually, you know, even though you guys probably think I talk too fast sometimes, I do have this, like, you know, let's get out there in front of the public and be a public information
Julie's definitely
officer.
A public person.
Yeah, because
doesn't mind putting herself out there.
That's right. So literally one of my dream jobs in this role was to be a public information officer, and this channel has given me this opportunity. However, Eric started going like, what about me?
Well, so here's the deal: is that it was just Julie talking up there, and don't get me wrong, she does a great job. It works perfectly, but there's not this kind of dynamics of a different opinion. If you didn't like Julie's opinion, it might not have liked the video. So then we thought it might be good to have two people on there. But remember, my background is not a public relationship. My background is I am a sculptor and furniture maker, and I spent most of my time in my studio by myself, and I would come out once a month for an opening or something like that, and that was it. I enjoyed my solitude, so it's been an interesting one. And I'm not a public speaker, so I had to kind of learn I've adapted to talk to you guys. This is not my normal excitement level that I normally have every day doing it, but I do have ideas and I can talk. And then so we started I started coming on camera a little bit, and we had a little bit of a tension between us. Because
it was like this, you guys. Ready? It's me. It's me. It's me.
We were trying to find a blend of where Eric can speak and Julie can speak on top of them.
That's right. And then actually a couple of you guys put in the comments, Julie, shut up, let Eric talk. And then people started seeing us on the street and saying, you know what, they like the blend of Eric's, you know, casual and calm demeanor and my little crazy frenetic energy.
Yeah, and the two sides work really well together.
Yeah.
We bounce off each other, right? Which definitely works. You know what I mean? And it's better than having either one of us be by ourselves.
Yeah, it's kind of like a good radio personality team, kind of, you know?
Yeah. Because the world is composed of many viewpoints.
There you go. And it's not just the viewpoints. He's got this like little happy, little demeanor.
So then let's move on. So then after we have we've kind of come to our into our own of how we relate and on video and everything, which has been great. I'm glad you guys have been able to put up with the sort of this transition at the beginning. But now what's happening is that now we've encouraged you to say hi to us wherever we go, which is good. So now you want to go on about that?
A couple times as we're walking downtown, and usually when we're filming downtown, we hear people yelling out the window, 365! And we say, hello. And then just recently I had somebody like literally like stop in the middle of the street in Alihi and say, hey, I know you guys from YouTube. And we're like, oh, yeah. He's like, oh, hey, could I ask you guys a question? We got the question answered. Started to drive off. Flipped around in the street, came back and asked more questions like what restaurant should we go to and everything else. I'm like, this is hilarious because this is like, you know, that doesn't happen to most people. And I'm usually with other friends when people come up and start asking us questions or telling us that we actually do a good job and then they thank us, right?
So yeah, and it's been interesting because remember, like when we're filming this, there's nobody behind us. There's not like a camera going, go shoot that, guys. It's us. I go around, I turn on the camera, I come back over here, right? So it's just a different world from the two of us sitting in the middle of just nowhere talking to each other versus having all these people see these videos and then come up to us and relate to, and they're able to, you know, recite things that happen in the videos.
Yeah. In fact, we've had kids saying, oh my gosh, my mom will love the fact that we got a picture together. So we take pictures and I go, that's for the mom. And then we've had moms and dads say, oh my God, my kids watch you guys. Let's take pictures for the kids. We've had people say that they say things like, well, 365 said on doing like travel stuff. So it's interesting that we have actually had an impact on so many people. We get a chance to see some amazing, fun people out here telling us that here.
I would say that's one of the most amazing things that's happened is how many people that we've made I say make their lives better in a light way, but definitely, you know.
Yeah. But people have actually sent notes saying, I plan my vacation around your ideas and your tips, and you made my vacation actually rock. But I'll tell you guys, I was out in Kalopa State Park, which is like in the middle of nowhere on the Kamakua coast, and I was in the middle of a forest. I'm totally alone. I see two people walking towards me, and they walk past me, and they're like, are you 365? I'm like, yeah. And then we were walking down to Po'olulu Valley, and these two guys were sitting there taking a picture, and we say, hey, can we take your picture? And they looked at us, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're from Chicago. Are you 365? We've had Canadians.
Yeah, it's been definitely it's been fun. You know what I mean? Mini, I call it being mini famous. You know what I mean?
Kind of like a local celebrity
but in a
thing.
good way.
But it's funny, and we do tell people, hey, say hi to us. And so we're not on the autographs yet, but we definitely take pictures with our fans.
So as we got this channel going, we decided that we wanted to split up a few things. The second one that we were doing is, since we are realtors, since we started a 365 Real Estate Minute channel, somewhere I forgot, a little ways after 365, and now that's kind of doing well on its own.
Yeah, there's 4,000 subscribers on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually speak in this desk and talk about real estate updates and statistics and tips for moving off the island as well as onto it. But also the 365 Hawaii experience also helped me create a nonprofit. I created the 365 Hawaii Island Community Fund, and from that we've been able to put on events. We put on a fundraiser for the Reef Teach program, the Run for the Reef. We also are doing public policy, and they're actually the ones who are helping with the fixed paid parking group.
The parades for a year.
Yeah, the 365 Fund took over the Christmas and the 4th of July parades, and we also are doing beautification programs in the Old A, and also the 365 community volunteers on Facebook to get more people to sign up to be volunteers, so we have more people to draw from to help with community projects. So again, the 365 sphere continues to grow, and we're going to drop some links below if you guys want to learn more about the different ways that you can volunteer with the 365 group. You can actually get more involved in doing some of our fundraisers, and also, of course, contacting us about real estate information.
So with all these things that have happened to us, the question is, where is it going to go in the future, and what's going to happen? And it's an exciting time for us. It just kind of keeps rolling and kind of getting better. I will say this, it's a lot harder these days to capture views on YouTube. In other words, just doing a video in the old days was good enough and you did really well, but there's so much competition on YouTube. We get a little less views right now, but we like to consider them quality viewers.
Yes, because we have true fans. That's who's probably gone to this point on this this video. And so for our true fans, I also want to let you guys know that we do have merch for sale if 365 Hawaii is something you want to wear on a t-shirt, on a hat, or whatever. Again, I'm going to drop our link in the below. It's through Redbubble. And between the merch and also more parties, so we're going to do probably twice a year 365 Hawaii beach parties. So we have actually one coming up in July. And to get more information about the events that we put on and maybe other events as well, give us your email. We'll put you on an email distribution list. You guys will get some of the information about what we're doing, what we're working on.
Okay, before we sign off, we got to do one more thing.
We got to go watch the sunset.
And it is a beautiful, foggy sunset tonight. Not too much fog, just enough to give it a nice little glow, and we're going to call that good. And then we say,
aloha!